Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to get into Ambush and Rebellion and how literally Ambush not only changes the game but might break the game. This is a long conversation I'm engaging with, gathering the magic at first and then the live audience thereafter. There's people who feel Rebellion has gone too far. Ambush in particular might break the game. There's others who feel Rebellion hasn't gone far enough and it's actually relatively weak. I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but some of these cards need to be looked at for overpowered nature and maybe some nerfs. Let's talk about all that. And if it sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like, and subscribe. Have an amazing day. God bless.
Going back to summoners real quick, the one that I thought might be kind of overlooked even though it's a legendary, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing, is the legendary dragon summoner, where you can either give lookout to a unit, which I don't think most people will do, when they can give ambush to 2 units. So you could have 2 of your monsters before the match even starts have ambush.
Yeah.
That to me seems like that could be broken. They may want to change that to 1 unit gets ambush.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it because that's part of my video later, but since you bring it up, I have to say that seems absolutely busted. And I'll show some examples right now. Matthew Young, there are some that should be needed, sure, or at least to make higher mana. That being said, I really don't want them to nerf too many cards because I would rather it be closer to Untamed in power. Yeah, I don't want them to nerf it either. I guess I want a conversation around it. And you know for a fact that the team is thinking the same things. So I guess I'm going to raise some. I don't want to see any nerfs. The cards I talk about needing a nerf, it's like, you know, I think they're powerful. I think they might be really powerful, possibly too powerful. And I guess I want to start a conversation around that. Harry, Larry, McNary, good to see you. What do you guys think about new cards and what will they bring to the game? Meta shift, I'm excited. Dude, great question, detailed question. Hard to answer in a really short way. But we are about to just talk about one summoner here in a moment, Dragon Summoner. So you're saying this one with a double ambush is concerning to you. Gathering, do you have any cards in mind that you were thinking? Because I have one in mind that I want to maybe show and think through what that could do.
I just want to know exactly how ambush mechanic works. So you pick the 2 cards that will get ambush to attack the other team. So if the opposing player also has an ambush card, then does it come down to normal attack rules?
Great question, and I don't know that we can answer that exactly, but I think, first of all, support.splinterlands.com gives us an article. Ambush, this unit, it gets to act before the battle begins, so turn 0, and there's a 100% chance of activation, meaning ambush will happen. Attack accuracy still applies, meaning if you're too slow and I'm too fast and you don't have True Strike, I will dodge you, or I can dodge you. There's also, I think we have to imagine, and look, there's more here. I've never read this before. Remarkable interactions. I don't want to read this whole thing, but I suspect look at this. This is what I was just going to say. For multiple attackers with ambush, attack order applies. So if your attacker has ambush, but mine has ambush and I'm super fast, I'm going first and maybe I delete you. Units with lookout ability decrease the damage dealt to ambushers by half. Okay, so even lookout takes effect by that point. So it's like, it sounds as though the game board is set, you implement ambush on your guy, or let's say they already have ambush. All the ambushers are going to act as if the game board is truly fully set. And it's just their turn to go. And then all the normal considerations apply, it sounds. So explosive weaponry when paired with ambush blast can be a game changer. A well-placed attack from a unit with ambush may take out the key members of an opponent's team before round 1 begins. Isn't that nuts? See, that's the power of what I'm seeing with this ability is. And so then thinking through giving 2 of those to my team through 1 summoner choice absolutely could change the game. Could maybe be broken. It could be broken. Let me show you one card that I was looking at, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Gathering. So we don't have all the monsters yet. We haven't, yes we do, but we don't have all their max abilities. And so I don't want to really think through, you know, each of these level 1 BCX cards and what would be overpowered with ambush. But from a champion level, diamond level, even gold level, you're going to start to see some really crazy damage output. And to think that they would go before anyone goes, for instance, this card. Look at this card and imagine this, you slap an ambush on this. So it's got a huge damage output. And it's got a crazy speed, which means it's probably even going first in the ambush turn. It also, because it, in certain settings, like picture a rule set where the rule set is opportunity, like every monster has opportunity. You're talking 4 magic actively attacking the weakest monster on the table. And, and again, you get to make the choice when the battlefield is displayed, you can make the call. Like you're looking at the battlefield and you say, okay, if I slapped ambush on, this character, 5 damage archery on my team, I am going to go over here and delete. Well, now it's camouflage, so I guess you're not going to hit that one. But the thinking through, it's possible with a big damage output, such as we see in this card, Thanalor. It's totally possible that I can see it's not even a question of if. It's magic. I'm going to hit you unless you have phase. I'm 6 speed, so I'm firing first. At 4 damage output, I know you only have 3 hit points. I'm going to kill you. Like, it seems to me that ambush is going to absolutely be predictably, absolutely game-changing because it's going to delete characters. And there's no response really, in some situations. Thoughts on that, Gathering?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking anything with high magic damage, since it's a guaranteed hit, or anything with blast.
Yeah.
So if you can give 2 different monsters on your team ambush and they both have blast ability, you could wipe out 2-3 monsters on the opposing team before the game even starts.
Chaos Dragon, what an amazing ambusher this would be. Now it does only have 3 speed, so maybe that's not fast enough for you, but because it has 10 hit points, it's not going to be, you're not likely to, even if you have ambush, you're not likely to delete my ambusher, meaning I get an ambush shot off. And you're doing 4 magic damage at the high levels, 3 at the lower levels with blast. Plus, if you try a taunt to control me, I'm scattershotting anyways. And then there's, Countess Sinesh, similar vibe with the opportunity blast. All of these blasters on the screen are going to be really juicy, like that article was posting and implying. Some of them are more susceptible to being spike damage themselves. That would be maybe not optimal. If you're going to put in ambush on a character, you want to make sure that it doesn't disappear before it fires. And so I would want like more hearts or more armor or whatnot. But man, super exciting to think through. And I do think that might need to be revisited. Possibly you only get 1 ambush. 2 seems like, I'm really surprised they thought 2 was the number. I see some great comments here I want to touch on. Matthew Young has a slightly different feeling on the on ambush. I think it's on the screen there. Yeah. I think ambush is fine. Just make sure to play lookout and your own ambush creatures. Totally. There is a give and take in terms of you can respond. You can counterplay, of course. But there are some times where that 0 turn action, well, first of all, you don't necessarily even have ambushers. If you don't have rebellion, does that mean you're screwed? I don't think so. I'm not saying that you are. But I'm saying, because your answer, Matthew, is it's fine. Just play your own rebellion. And I go, sure, I will. But what about all the people that can't afford or won't buy or right? And I know you can rent the cards, and I've said this in my own video, like you can rent these rebellion cards. You also can acquire some on the peer-to-peer marketplace. Maybe some of the ones that seem the most broken, right? You don't have to. It's not going to be impossible or anything like that to access this. It's not, I don't want to make it seem like I don't want to make it seem as though I don't agree in the sense that no, there's just no way you will. But there will be some people that are going to say, I can't get it. And that question then leaves, it raises the next obvious, well, if I have to have it, doesn't that mean it's overpowered? If it literally is must have, is that not overpowered? I don't know. I just want to have that conversation. I think we gotta keep that conversation going as this is, because it's not out yet. December 5th is when it's out. When it's out, I don't want to see any nerfs. Before it's out, if something feels like it needs to be nerfed, I want that nerf to happen. once it's actually live, like it's a bad look to nerf afterwards. They've done it, I think, in 1 or 2 instances. Initially, one example I can cite for you, they used to have, you guys know the Halfling Alchemist. You know Redemption ability. Redemption ability, when the monster dies, it does 1 damage to all monsters. And that ability used to be 2 damage to all monsters, which was crazy. And very quickly, maybe it was days, maybe it was weeks, I can't remember how long it took, but they eventually nerfed that. So they have nerfed after release in some situations. And also there's a dragon card, an archer. Let me pull that up. Because they nerfed Redemption, but they also nerfed a dragon archery card. Oh, it's not legendary, that's why. The Fire Spitter. The Fire Spitter used to have Redemption in it somewhere. I can't remember where or how. And it might have had other changes too, but flying, dodge. And I think it had Redemption also. And they just took it away because it was like, again, Redemption was too powerful. It was 2 damage. And that had ramifications for the price on these cards. They were far higher. People bought them because how Redemption had been released. It was so broken. We have to have it. They paid extra. And then the nerf happened and people got really pissed because they lost, in some sense, they lost value. They bought something because of a utility and that intrinsic value. And then it was taken from them. We need to make sure we don't do that again. Or to the best ability of the team, we need to make sure we avoid that. No one's perfect. That mistake may happen again. But I'm saying Rebellion is a totally new set with all kinds of new synergies and interesting dynamics. It would be irresponsible to not detailed dive into the possibility for overpowered cards because we don't want that to happen again. We don't want people to buy packs, cards, and plan on a certain sort of play style and have that pulled out from under them. And so, again, not saying that the issue is resolved or definitive, just saying we need to talk about it. Keep going back to chat. You guys got lots to say. I think the new cards are OP. The mana needs to be higher. I spent a lot on my wild deck and make less SPS now with bots. They need to fix that. It was a 2 slap in the face. So I hear what you're saying. First of all, a lot of these rebellions are powerful and they might be overpowered. And like I say, we got to have that conversation. I don't know that I agree that they are overpowered. You probably should watch the video later though, iHorse, because you might really agree with some of those. Let's see what you think. I'll look for your comment on that. 5 hours from now, you're going to see a 30-minute video from me about overpowered rebellions. I spent a lot on the wild deck. I make less SPS now with bots. So the bot conversation is an ongoing, conversation. There is a proposal out right now that is supposed to kind of speak into that, but we can't pull it up, can we? Can we? No. With the maintenance down. There is a proposal though, something about bots. I can't remember what it was, otherwise I would just reference it. But you know what? The bot thing is always going to be, it's got to be like this moving needle because we're going to raise our defenses. They're going to raise their approach or change their approach and so on. Flywheel, baby. I like it the way it is. Maybe some nerfs here and there, but we should have things a bit stronger. I don't even think it's powerful as Untamed, but it's close. I see 2 sides of the same coin here. Horus feeling totally broken OP. New cards are OP. Definitively not a question, making that bold statement. And Matthew on the other side saying like, no, it's not even powerful enough. And this is the way the community always is with everything. Like, I mean, the developers have to do what they think is appropriate. And I don't even want them to nerf anything. And I also don't want them to buff anything. I'm okay with whatever they do. But the one thing I'm saying is when we issue these cards, they truly are playable. They need to be set in stone. And so if the team feels, I want them to thoroughly look at what I think could be overpowered not because I want nerfs, but because I actually want them to be thoughtful about, no, we looked at it and we feel that's adequate. If that's what happens, then it's like playing any other game. Picture you go to your friend's house and you play Monopoly. Monopoly is a game where there's customizable rules. There's house rules. Some people use free parking and there's money in there. If you guys don't know this game, like just any board game, there is sometimes ways you manipulate the rule set so that it is unique to your household, whereas another neighbor will play it slightly differently. And the point is, when we start the game, the rules are clear and then they're going to stay that way. It's not in the middle of the game we're going to change the rule set. And as long as we set the rules in order and we follow the rules, I'm okay with it. Meaning, if the rebellion packs are issued, opened, playable, and the abilities are at that moment set in stone, that's the rules. That's the way it is. And so then we just stick with it. We don't change it. We don't tweak it. We don't, you can correct in some sense. If you feel it's overpowered, you can correct by, applying other rule sets or new mana caps or other, different cards that respond. There's lots of ways to do it. But the path should not be, oh, dang, I didn't think that through. It was way overpowered. Let's nerf it. And so from that perspective, I think that's why we got to look at it even as with a critical eye as people playing the game. Lots of great comments, guys. Let's keep reading them. Ambush Dr. Blight before camouflage. Ambush Dr. Blight before camouflage. No, I don't think so, because the camouflage is always present on Dr. Blight. So the descriptions that we read in here, it talked about attack accuracy still applies, meaning, let's click on that. Blind reduces chance, dodge, flying, speed differential matters. All monsters time protected, blind dodge ability, aim true, phase, snare, true strike. Okay, it doesn't specifically talk about camo, but camo is a conversation, like it's an ability to the Dr. Blight, and any other camouflage monster should be almost safe from your ambush attack, except for if you have a scattershot ambush attack, which fires indiscriminately and absolutely can shoot my camouflage monster. That would be my thinking. Again, I do not know for sure. I hope that helps you think through your question. Horse 2 OP, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know. I've been around that bush. I hear you. Ame, will summoner buffs and debuffs apply after ambush happens? So you may hit someone that didn't get a chance to gain armor from a... I don't think so. I don't think so. Again, some of this we don't know. No, like I cannot speak definitively, but I think the answer to your question is answerable. And I think the answer is no. Meaning, let me show you this again. So back into my Discord. And this is where I've been storing all these monsters and whatnot as they come out. Okay, so this is the one tactics stage screen that we've seen from the team. This was shown at one of the recent town halls, and you can see that this summoner down here has the ability to add either 2 archery or 1 shield to one monster, or 2 archery damage to 2 monsters. Now, there's several things we don't know. We don't know if this archery could be put... There is only 1 archer monster on this battlefield, on the blue team. So there is only 1 monster that can receive +2 archery. So one of my questions is, can you apply both of the archery buffs to 1 monster? The answer might be yes. We don't know. I don't think they've answered that question yet. But they did say clearly, if this is a +2 archery, you cannot give it to a non-archer. You cannot give it to a magic monster. You cannot give it to any monster unless they already have some amount of archery damage. So those are things we know, or things I think we know, or at least. And then you said, like, will the ambush happen before the summoner tactics applied, or even summoner abilities apply? I think the answer is no, because turn 0 this is what they call ambush. Ambush is happening during turn 0. Turn 1 is where speed decides who fires first. Turn 0 is ambush turn. But before even turn 0, abilities of your monsters that synergize with one another and your summoners are implemented. Before the game even begins, you start seeing that all those +1 hit points, +1 armor, +1 whatevers, phase, etc. All these different abilities start proccing. That is before even turn 0, in my opinion. I don't know that for certain, but I would say that would be really silly to let ambush be even before the summoner proccing. That could one day be a thing. I do not believe that is this ambush functionality. But again, I am speculating. Let's keep going. Jason Jenkins, would be funny if you had an ambush monster that got killed before it could ambush. That can happen. That absolutely can happen. If your ambush monster is slower than my ambush monster, then I might kill your ambush monster before ambush. And that's what we saw within the ambush screen. It says, so with multiple factors with ambush, attack order applies. That means that if my ambusher is faster, I'm firing first. if my ambush monster has the ability and capacity to attack your ambush monster, which is potentially possible, either through opportunity or through scattershot or whatever, then it's possible I delete you before you fire. Which is why I said earlier, when we look at choosing who we want to be an ambusher, you want to make sure you're not deletable on turn 0. If you choose a monster to be ambusher and it has 1 hit point, and my opponent picks an ambusher who moves quicker and has opportunity, my 1 hit point ambusher might be deleted. And so this is almost the pre-game game, which will be super cool to think through. Oscu, taunt is going to be super important countering ambush plays, 100% Oscu, but I was saying before you arrived, scattershot is a counter to taunt. And if you recognize the fact that scattershot can be used powerfully with ambush, and we looked at some of the blasters. We just open up peak monsters and you just search blast. There's the one that really came to mind was the dragon, chaos dragon with who cares about your taunt? I got scattershot, and not only that, but I've got blast. So this is an amazing card to throw ambush on because it's going to drop 3, 4, 5, 7 damage. Probably 7 damage depending on where that scattershot lands. Your taunt can't distract me, and you are not going to delete my card before I ambush because I have too many hit points. So yeah, I think taunt, you're right. There's going to be a counterplay, right? It's like you're going to try taunt and then I might have ambush. Well, if you know you don't know which summoner I'm going to play when you choose a taunt play. And then if I have a summoner tactic, the interplay, guys, the give and take, you're going to look at my last 5 battles. You're going to see I've been playing the summoner tactics, and you're going to see I've got the dragon with the ambush, and you're going to think, oh, no, maybe I do use taunt. But taunt isn't necessarily the answer, because if I know you've been using taunt monsters recently, I'm going to use a scattershot with an ambush capacity to circumvent. This is so amazing. This is the power of what this game could be. We've scratched the surface in terms of the complexity of the gameplay mechanic up until now. The battle has been very, I set my lineup, you set your lineup, and we see what happens. And a little bit of a guessing game, and there's some RNG in there. But now as we move into items and spells, we move into summoner tactics, we move into ambush capacity, there's so much more agency. There's so much more agency, meaning you have a capacity to impact the outcome in a far greater than ever, because it's not even just about the team construction, like the general manager, I buy these cards, that's still present. It's also the coach, meaning I pick the team, put it on the field. But finally, it's the agency within, putting shield here, putting ambush here. There's so much going on now, and the complexity is growing and growing and growing, and land is part of that too, man. This is wild. This is so awesome. This is hugely, I'm so pumped. I want to read a couple more comments. Guys, you guys are blowing up over here. Appreciate it. I'm trying to rip through some. If they ambush and hit a martyr, does it apply the martyr during the ambush? It would. If we both did ambush and I went second and my martyr was killed, do I get to start stat bump? I think the answer is a definitive yes, because as soon as martyr goes down, it immediately applies. I don't think that is going to wait until turn 1. I think the answer is definitively yes. This trample rule set could get crazy before the match even starts. What an awesome comment, Deus. Yes. Plus, Deus, you got to come on. We got to do a live sometime. Like, you're always in the chat. You're always in Discord. You're always paying attention. You get this game. You've never been on. Come on sometime.